The humid air of Naboo feels like a chokehold to Anakin Skywalker. Every time he closes his eyes, he doesn't see the beauty of the lake country. He sees the burning sands of Tatooine and the pained face of his mother Shmi. In the original timeline, Anakin waited. He followed his duties until it was too late. But here, in this alternate reality, the Force screams a warning that he cannot ignore. "I'm not waiting for an assignment, Padme," Anakin says, his voice low and trembling with a mix of fear and resolve. While Obi-Wan Kenobi is distracted by the mystery of the dart on Coruscant, Anakin makes a tactical decision that breaks his vow of obedience. He commandeers a Naboo starfighter, leaving behind a confused senator and a trail of broken protocols. He isn't just flying to a planet, he is racing against a dark future that hasn't happened yet. The journey through hyperspace is a blur of localized agony. Anakin pushes the ship's engines to their absolute limit, arriving at the Lars moisture farm weeks before the fateful raid is scheduled to occur. As the ship touches down in the shifting sands, he finds Shmi Skywalker alive and well, working under the heat of the twin suns. The relief is overwhelming, but the Force is still restless. By arriving early, Anakin has prevented the initial kidnapping, but he has also created a new ripple in the Force. Klieg, Lars, and Owen are stunned to see the Jedi return, but Anakin's focus is singular. He knows the Tusken Raiders are gathering in the Jundland wastes, and their aggression is being fueled by something darker than mere tribal territory. Instead of finding a dying woman in a dark tent, Anakin stands as a guardian at the gates. He spends the night on the ridge, his blue lightsaber a solitary beacon against the desert night. But as he watches the horizon, he senses a presence that shouldn't be there. A cold, calculating shadow that realizes the hero with no fear has stepped off the path Palpatine had so carefully paved. Anakin ignites his blade as the first war cries of the Sand People echo through the dunes, but his eyes aren't on the raiders. He's looking at a dark probe droid hovering in the distance, recording every move for a master who is now realizing his prize is slipping away. The twin suns of Tatooine hang low in the sky, casting long, blood-red shadows across the desert floor. Anakin Skywalker does not wait for the Tuskens to come to the farm. He senses their movement in the Force, a jagged, rhythmic pulse of aggression hidden behind the jagged cliffs of the canyon. Mounted on a borrowed swoop bike, Anakin tears through the sand, his mind focused with a terrifying intensity. In the original timeline, he was too late. But here, he is a force of nature arriving at the exact moment the first Tusken scouting party prepares to strike. He reaches the main camp just as the raiders are mobilizing. Through the Force, he locates Shmi Skywalker. She is being held at the edge of the camp, bound and frightened, but remarkably unharmed. Anakin ignites his blue lightsaber, a brilliant flash of light in the dimming twilight. He doesn't strike with the blind, murderous rage that once defined his fall. Instead, he moves with the surgical precision of a Jedi Knight protecting his own. He deflects blaster bolts and disarms his opponents with a series of fluid, rapid-fire strikes. The Tuskens, sensing a power they cannot comprehend, scatter into the darkness of the canyons. "Mom," Anakin whispers, cutting her bonds with a gentle flick of his blade. Shmi looks up, her eyes wide with shock and relief. "Anakin, you came back." The emotional impact is profound. By saving her while she is still strong, Anakin prevents the psychological trauma that would have otherwise shattered his soul. He carries her back to the swoop bike, leaving the camp behind without a single unnecessary life taken. As they arrive back at the Lars homestead, the family gathers in the courtyard, tears of joy replacing the screams of a massacre. Shmi is safe. The chain reaction of hate that led to the birth of Darth Vader has been broken at the very source. But as Anakin helps his mother inside, he looks back at the darkening horizon. He realizes that by changing his fate, he has attracted the attention of much larger forces. The Jedi Council will soon realize he is missing, and far across the galaxy, the Sith Lord Palpatine feels a sudden, unexpected coldness in the Force. The perfect pawn is no longer following the script. Anakin watches his mother rest, but his relief is cut short when his comlink chimes with a high-priority signal. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi, calling from the rainy world of Kamino. demanding to know why Anakin has abandoned his post and where he has taken the Naboo starfighter. The twin suns of Tatooine begin their slow descent, but the heat radiating from the desert floor is nothing compared to the warmth Anakin feels in the Lars dining room. In another life, this kitchen was a place of mourning and hollow silence. But now, Shmi Skywalker sits across from her son, her hands calloused, but her spirit unbroken. Her presence is a physical shield against the darkness that has been clawing at Anakin's mind since he was a child. "Anakin, I see the weight you carry," Shmi says softly, her eyes searching his. "The Jedi teach you to be strong, but they cannot teach you to be whole. You must find peace within yourself, not through the power you hold." These simple words do what years of Jedi meditation could not. They cool the fires of his resentment toward the Council and blunt the sharp edge of his arrogance. For the first time, Anakin realizes that he doesn't have to be a slave to his destiny or his fear. This internal shift has immediate consequences for the Force. The jagged red energy that often flickered at the edges of Anakin's aura begins to smooth into a calm, radiant blue. He spends the evening talking to his mother about Padme, about his frustrations with Obi-Wan, and about the crushing pressure of being the chosen one. Shmi listens without judgment, providing the maternal wisdom that the rigid Jedi code intentionally lacks. By having a safe harbor to express his love and his fears, the spark of the dark side, the one Palpatine hoped would ignite on this very planet, is extinguished before it can ever catch fire. However, this newfound peace is a direct threat to the grand plan of the Sith. Anakin is becoming a master of his own heart, which makes him impossible to manipulate. As Anakin prepares to leave the homestead to face the consequences of his desertion, he feels a strange, cold shiver. He looks at his mother and realizes that keeping her on Tatooine is no longer an option. The desert is no longer safe for a woman who holds the key to the galaxy's ultimate weapon. Anakin grips his lightsaber hilt, his eyes fixed on the darkening sky as he makes a startling realization. The only way to truly keep his mother safe is to bring her into the lion's den, right into the heart of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. The landing platform on Coruscant is cold and metallic, a sharp contrast to the desert warmth of Tatooine. Anakin Skywalker steps off the transport, but he is not alone. Shmi Skywalker walks beside him, her presence causing a ripple of confusion among the temple guards. By bringing his mother to the heart of the Republic, Anakin has already broken a dozen protocols. But he is no longer the fearful boy who left her behind. He is a man who has reclaimed his foundation. In the private quarters of the temple, Anakin meets with Padme Amidala. The tension is thick, the weight of their secret marriage pressing down like a physical burden. In the original timeline, this secret was a poison that Palpatine used to rot Anakin's soul. But with Shmi standing there, a living symbol of truth and survival, the fear of discovery loses its power. "We can't hide anymore, Padme," Anakin says, his voice steady and devoid of his usual desperation. With his mother's hand on his shoulder, Anakin finds a strength that Master Yoda could never teach. He requests an emergency session with the High Council. As he stands before the 12 Masters, the atmosphere is electric with disapproval. "Mace Windu, your mother's presence on Coruscant is unexpected, my boy," Palpatine says, his voice smooth as silk, but his eyes darting with a hidden irritation. "She is a distraction you cannot afford if you are to reach your true potential." In the original timeline, these words would have planted a seed of doubt, making Anakin feel ashamed of his attachments. But now, with the memory of Shmi's gentle hand on his shoulder still fresh, the words ring hollow. Anakin doesn't see a wise leader. He sees a predator trying to isolate his prey. The Force ripples with a new kind of resonance. Because Anakin is balanced by the love of his mother and the truth of his marriage, his internal compass has been recalibrated. He begins to notice the patterns. He realizes how Palpatine has always encouraged his anger toward the Council, how he has always fueled his desire for forbidden power. This mental shift is a catastrophic failure for the Sith. The prophecy of the Chosen One is shifting away from the dark and toward a new, balanced light. Anakin isn't becoming a tool of destruction. He is becoming a guardian of the truth. The Council is right about one thing, Chancellor. Anakin replies, his voice steady and devoid of the usual defensive edge. Attachments aren't a weakness if they give you something to fight for. The look that flashes across Palpatine's face for a fraction of a second is one of pure, unadulterated malice. The mask is slipping. Anakin leaves the office not as a confused apprentice, but as a man who finally knows he is being hunted. He realizes that to protect Shmi, Padme, and the Jedi, he must stop playing the game and start ending it. Anakin walks through the Senate halls, his hand resting firmly on his lightsaber, but he stops when he notices a group of Senate guards being replaced by mysterious, red-robed figures, the same figures he saw in a dark premonition just moments before his mother was saved. The air in the Chancellor's office is thick with the scent of ozone and ancient malice. Palpatine stands by the window, his back to Anakin, watching the heavy traffic of Coruscant. "Your mother is in great danger, Anakin," he whispers, his voice dripping with feigned concern. "I have received reports that bounty hunters have infiltrated the temple. Without my protection, she will not survive the night." In the original timeline, this threat would have sent Anakin into a blind, desperate panic. He would have knelt and pledged anything to save her. But this Anakin is different. He has spent the last few days anchored by Shmi's presence and Padme's love. He sees the move for what it is, a desperate gamble by a master whose prize is slipping away. "My mother is safe, Chancellor," Anakin replies, his voice cold and steady. "Because she is no longer alone, and neither am I." Behind him, the doors to the office slide open. It isn't a group of terrified Senate guards who enter, but Master Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, and Saesee Tiin. Anakin had gone to the council not as a petitioner, but as a leader. He had laid out the evidence of Palpatine's manipulation and the Sith shadow looming over the Senate. For the first time, the Jedi and the Chosen One are acting in perfect synchronization. The strategic choice, to be honest, has dismantled 20 years of Sith planning in a... "So," Sidious hisses, drawing his hidden lightsabers from his sleeves, "the lapdog has found its teeth." Anakin ignites his blue blade, the hum echoing against the Sith Lord's cackle. He isn't fighting for power, and he isn't fighting out of hate. He is fighting to protect the life he has finally reclaimed. The duel of the fates begins not in a hangar on Naboo, but in the heart of the Republic's power. The chain reaction of Anakin's choice to save his mother has led them here to the moment where the Sith must face the full, balanced power of the Chosen One. As the first clash of blades illuminates the darkened office, Sidious unleashes a massive blast of Force lightning, but Anakin doesn't flinch. He catches the energy on his blade and steps forward, just as a series of explosions rock the building, signaling that the Chancellor's secret army has been triggered to burn the city to the ground. The air in the Chancellor's suite is thick with the scent of ozone and molten metal. Darth Sidious is a blur of lethal crimson, his movements fueled by centuries of Sith hatred. But for the first time, his mastery of the dark side is met with an unbreakable wall. Mace Windu's Vapad style serves as the perfect conductor for Sidious's rage, while Anakin Skywalker attacks with the relentless, overwhelming power of the Chosen One. In the original timeline, Anakin was the blade that struck Mace Windu down, but here, he is the shield that protects him. "You cannot hold me." Sidious screams, unleashing a torrent of Force lightning that cracks the very foundation of the room. But Anakin doesn't falter. He draws strength from the knowledge that his mother and Padme are safe, using his love as an anchor rather than a catalyst for rage. Together, the two Jedi drive the Sith Lord back toward the shattered window, overlooking the neon-lit abyss of Coruscant. This is the moment where the destiny of the galaxy shifts. As Sidious prepares one final, desperate surge of dark energy, Anakin sees the opening. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't ask for a trial. With a synchronized strike, Anakin and Mace Windu disarm the Sith Lord, ending the threat of the Phantom Menace forever. The strategic consequence is instantaneous. Because Palpatine is dead, before he can activate the chips in the clones, the Great Jedi Purge is averted. Order 66 remains a silent, dormant file in the Grand Army's database, a weapon that will never be fired. Across the galaxy, Jedi generals like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda feel a sudden, massive weight lift from the Force. The Dark Shroud is gone. The Sith are extinct. Anakin stands over the fallen Chancellor, his blue blade reflecting in his eyes, realizing that he has finally fulfilled the prophecy. But as the adrenaline fades, a new reality begins to set in. The Senate is in chaos.